For our group project, we decided to discuss X-rays. X-rays were first discovered in 1895 by German professor Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen. He was working with a cathode ray tube in his lab when he discovered a glow of crystals on a table. The tube consisted of a glass bulb with positive and negative electrodes that were encapsulated in it. The air in the tube was evacuated, and when a certain high voltage was applied, the tube had produced a glow. The professor shielded the tube with a heavy black paper and discovered that a fluorescent light generated by a material was located next to the tube. Thus, he concluded that this was a new type of ray. Wilhelm figured out that these rays could penetrate the flesh but not high-density substances such as bones or lead, allowing them to be photographed. This professor's discovery was a medical miracle which allows doctors to see inside the human body without unnecessary surgery.
X-ray technology utilizes high-energy rays that can pass through certain body tissue and create imagery vital to diagnosis and treatment. The X-ray machine is composed of an X-ray tube that contains a pair of electrodes or conductors called a cathode and an anode. The cathode is a filament that releases energy with the introduction of an electrical current, much like that of a light bulb. The cathode energy is released in the form of electrons. The anode, located on the opposite end of the X-ray tube, is a disc made of tungsten, a material that attracts the electrons. When the electrons released from the cathode come in contact with the tungsten, they release energy in the form of photons. These highly energized photons are channeled through a lead cylinder and a series of filters, creating an X-ray beam. The X-ray beam is a high-energy beam that can be absorbed only by dense body tissues, such as bone. During an X-ray, a radiographic film is placed behind the patient, and the patient is placed between the film and the X-ray machine. The X-ray machine then focuses the energy beam at the specific area of the patient's body. As the X-ray energy passes through the patient's body, the photons of the beam reach the film and cause a chemical reaction. The areas where X-ray energy passes through the body become black, while the areas where energy is absorbed by the bones appear white. This process produces a radiographic, which is commonly referred to as an X-ray.
Scanning electron microscope picture of X-ray film. An X-ray consists of an X-ray tube, glass, copper transformer, tube stand, control panel, and tungsten filament. The first X-ray had a cathode ray tube that had a glass envelope bulb with a positive and negative electrode encapsulated in it. Heavy black paper was used to shield the tube.
MIT researchers are working on a safer and alternative way to make an X-ray. This new theory, backed up by exact simulations, shows that a sheet of graphene, a two-dimensional form of pure carbon, could be used to generate surface waves called plasmons when the sheet is struck by photons from a laser beam. These plasmons in turn could be triggered to generate a sharp pulse of radiation, tuned to wavelengths anywhere from infrared light to X-rays.
The material that we'll focus on is essential to the proper function of X-rays. This is the element tungsten. Tungsten is used in many everyday objects such as light bulbs, X-ray tubes, liquid crystal displays, and spacecraft and missile parts that have to withstand high temperatures. Discovered in 1783 by Juan José and Fausto Aguilar, tungsten was found in samples of mineral wolframite. It is a light gray or whitish metal soft enough to be cut and ductile enough to be drawn into wire or different shapes. Tungsten means heavy stone and has the highest melting point of all metallic elements at 3,695 degrees Kelvin. This map shows the presence of tungsten worldwide. China accounts for 2/3 of the world's supply of tungsten, followed by Russia, Austria, Bolivia, Peru, and Portugal. Tungsten ores are crushed, cleaned, and treated with alkalis to form tungsten trioxide. This is then heated with carbon or hydrogen gas, forming tungsten metal and CO2, or tungsten metal and water vapor. This method of extraction of tungsten is still used today. Tungsten is alloyed with steel to form tough metals that are stable at high temperatures. These alloys are used to make high-speed cutting tools and rocket engine nozzles. Through the discovery of tungsten, welding was made possible. Did you know that one of the first X-rays done was on William Roentgen's wife? Also, liquid tungsten is so hot that if it came into contact with lava, tungsten would freeze. The discovery of tungsten and X-rays made discovering the structure of DNA possible, as well as revolutionizing the treatment of tuberculosis.